When it comes to Dynasty Fantasy Football, you're either contending or you're rebuilding. And we're going to talk with another guy in our Dynasty Football League that is rebuilding
You could
for,
say that.
for probably the third year in a row now that we get to this point. Welcome into another edition of HCDC. This time, the newest member that we brought on to the podcast is our guy, AHopes. What's up, Alex?
What's up, James? How you doing?
Doing good, buddy. It's been a while since we've
Been a
seen each
while.
other in person.
It's been
huh?
a minute.
Yes, sir. I think a good way to start, just kind of like how we've done for each one of the podcasts, is kind of just letting the people know a little bit about yourself. What was like your first football memory and like kind of how you got into loving the sport?
Absolutely. It was 2009 Saints Super Bowl.
The reoccurring theme.
Specifically, the interception.
The Tracy Porter
Yes.
pick six?
It was the pick six.
In the Super Bowl?
Yes. That was my first memory I remember. First off, I didn't
Okay.
know what was happening, but I just remember my dad going crazy.
Yeah.
And then I had to follow suit. I started jumping up and down and yelling.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, it's just been a Saints fandom
Ever since
ever
then?
since.
It's funny because that's eerily similar to my first football memory, because right over there, I think I was playing with like either Yu-Gi-Oh cards or something else, and I hear my dad yelling in the other room,
Yep.
and it was the same thing. I went to go
Yep.
check him out, and it was the tail end of the Tracy Porter
Oh
pick
my
six, and I'm
God.
like, I don't know what's going on,
Yeah.
but
Hell
I'm
yeah,
kind of
whatever it
curious to
is.
see what happens. All right, so you kind of got started about the same time as me, so you're looking at February of 2010, kind of like, is it fair to assume that Drew Brees was your
Yes.
favorite player to watch growing up?
Absolutely. I'd say Drew Brees and Marcus Colston.
Oh, the Quiet Storm.
Yes. Those two were by far my favorite. It was Drew Brees and then his receiver core. And no matter in what phase of the Saints it was, or era of the Saints, it was always like,
Kind of like whoever was the main guy that Drew went to, you were like, those are my two favorites at the moment.
I really liked all of them. Like Robert Meacham,
Mm-hmm.
when he stripped that dude.
Yeah.
Dude, one of the coolest memories.
that was one of the crazier touchdowns. I guess you could say, I mean, even if it wasn't a wide receiver, I mean, Jimmy Graham for a hot little minute
Yes.
pretty much became Drew's favorite
Duncan,
target.
Dude, between the legs.
Yeah, between the legs, throw it over the crossbar. Okay. It was kind of like a little two-parter right there, but
Yeah.
I guess getting more into when it comes to fantasy, when did you first get into fantasy football?
My very first fantasy league was a ESPN league.
Okay.
So had the app,
Mm-hmm.
janky looking app, with my dad, my brother, and a few of my dad's coworkers. I lost. I didn't do good.
Shocker.
Yeah, I didn't know what was happening. I just drafted who
Mm-hmm.
it was like, yeah, that's a good player. Draft him. And I
He sounds
drafted him.
cool. I like him.
Exactly. He has an awesome last name.
I like the way he looks.
Yes.
I like the way his name is spelled.
Exactly.
So because I remember I got you into fantasy football, or at least I thought I did.
2021 redraft.
Yeah.
That was my first real redraft.
Okay.
And I remember drafting Derrick Henry and Najee Harris.
Yeah, you went really heavy into running backs. for
Heavy
that.
into running backs. And I did pretty decent. I didn't know what was happening
Yeah.
again. First real redraft league.
Mhm.
Didn't know what was happening. Like Derrick Henry, that's a good football player.
I know a good one when I
Yeah.
see one.
This dude, it says 6'2", 250. I need him on my team.
No, he's not. There's no way he's not 250.
Was he like 230?
Yeah, he's probably close. Yeah, he's probably about 230, but he's 6'3". I mean, just an absolute
Yeah.
beast.
I saw
mean,
one
it's understandable.
I saw one stiff arm. It was over.
And you were sold.
Yes, he needs to be on my team.
That's fair. Okay, well, since you kind of have a little bit of a shorter fantasy football career than most of us in the league, do you have any sort of accomplishments that you've gotten over the years? Because I remember you did pretty solid the first year with redraft. Then 2 years ago, you really fell off. I don't think you had a single win in that redraft.
No.
But then you bounced back, and I think you got like third or fourth.
Yeah.
Last year, so you got a little bit better.
Yeah, it's just about like knowing what's happening and just doing it over and over again.
Mhm.
That was what, my like third time.
Yeah, it was your third year. I mean, you kind of
Yeah.
got.
I got lucky with my first draft. I'm gonna be
It was
honest.
kind of like a beginner's luck.
Yeah.
Reality set in.
And then second year was like my rookie year, for sure.
Your sophomore slump.
Sophomore slump, yeah.
Yeah. And then you got into year 3, and you're like, okay, you started to pick up some steam there, and you actually you worried me for a little minute. I didn't end up winning the redraft, but you got close there. I was like,
Yeah.
uh-oh, he's coming.
I think that is my best year fantasy that I've had. I would say, I mean, I won a league, but it was like a 6-man league.
Yeah, we don't count those.
Those don't count.
Yeah, we don't count those.
Every team was stacked.
All right. Well, looking at the Dynasty League and kind of getting into a Halfway Crooks, your team, we can get into what it looks like now in a little bit, but I kind of want to get your initial draft strategy, because I remember kind of looking back at a couple of the picks that you had. Najee Harris,
questionable.
You took Jalen Hurts in the second round, which is a good pick.
Pretty decent.
Nothing against that one, but then the rest of the way you end up taking, I think, was it Chris Godwin? I remember you got Tom Brady later in the draft, and I'm like,
did not get Chris Godwin.
You're definitely going all in this year.
Yeah,
because your team is ancient.
Yep, it was first overall with the 111. I chose Najee Harris.
Yeah.
Granted, he was just coming off of the most insane season with Ben Roethlisberger.
Uh-huh.
He was, you know how he was, insane, super high.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. I had him that previous year in redraft, and that's why I picked him with my first overall.
You were sold.
Not good. Not a good pick.
You would never do me wrong.
You did me wrong. Then second overall pick, I picked an aging Cooper Kupp, who in redraft, top asset, but not for Dynasty.
But even then, like, I mean, at that point he was 27 years old. Like,
I think he got hurt.
He was at his peak.
He got hurt. Yeah, I bought him at the very peak. No.
Yeah,
his peak was the year before.
Yeah, but we didn't know what was going to happen the next year. And then he kind of starts to get injured a little bit, and you immediately start getting rid of him.
Blow up my team. Yeah.
But then you kind of did what I did. You took a little bit of inspiration from me, because I had traded my second and third round pick in the startup.
Yes.
And I got to the 105, and I regrettably took Kyle Pitts. But you got into the second round and took Jalen Hurts.
Yes. The reason why I did that is because I wasn't expecting all of the QBs to go off that fast, purely because I was in redraft mode and QBs don't go that early.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what happens when you're in a super flex. But I was definitely in that same mindset. I was like, wow, it's a lot of QBs going off the board.
I didn't know what was happening. First Dynasty League ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh no, I have to go get a quarterback right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I traded my third and fourth round pick. Not a good start. My third and fourth in startup draft in my 2023 first rounder.
Yeah.
For Jalen Hurts. In hindsight, not a good trade.
Not the best.
Not the best. Definitely, I could have done something better with my 111 and 202.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I have my guy. Like, I have.
Yeah, you still have your guy right now.
My one guy.
Yeah.
I have one guy.
It's your only guy.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that's all you need. You made plenty of other picks, of course, filling out your team, and pretty much your mindset was to go all in that first year, which is
pretty much
understandable. I mean, usually you don't try to lose when you're first going in, because you're trying to test the waters and you don't want to waste your first couple of years. You like to see if you can do anything. But you petered out relatively quickly.
Very quickly. Cooper Kupp got hurt, and I'm pretty sure it was either that year or something else happened. I drafted Melvin Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good pick.
No, that one
at all. And he was, I remember, right whenever I didn't know any of the players, I just started filtering by max points in the draft.
Based off of what had happened last year?
Max projected points.
Yeah.
And then picked up Melvin Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're like, he did pretty solid.
Yeah. So, like, on paper, going into that, 2022 season,
Mhm.
I was projected like one of the highest scoring teams. But then,
Yeah, you feel good about yourself.
oh yeah, dude, I was like, man, I got a team.
Man, I'm goated.
Yeah, I got Tom Brady for cheap. I drafted him in the 6th round.
Yeah.
That's not cheap.
Swindle these guys. What are they doing?
Right.
But then reality kind of set in a little
Yes.
bit. You were able to make a couple of good moves. You ended up getting Baker Mayfield, but at that point, he wasn't looking very good. And then you moved on from him as well.
Dropped him
You
to waiver
dropped him.
wire.
Yeah.
Not a good.
Then he ends up getting picked up, and you're like, and now we kind of look at him right now, and we're like, oh,
He's solid. He's solid. He found his home.
right?
He's ready to go. He's at least a 2nd round pick.
Yeah.
I should have gotten something at least instead of just waiver wire.
Yeah. But
I don't think at that time I could have, but
no. But I mean, kind of
I think it
in
was
that
Carolina.
2022 year, you had okay guys. Like you still
Mhm.
had Derrick Henry at that point.
Yeah, I
Jerry
traded
Jeudy,
for-
there was still hope there.
Yep.
You still had Dallas Goedert at that point as well. And
Goddard.
you had a low key, really good
Yep.
sneaky pickup with Geno Smith.
Yes. At the very end, 16th, 24th round pick in the startup. I picked up Geno. If I do recall.
Into the 25th round.
25th, end of the
Yeah.
25th round.
Yeah.
Even better. Great value.
Amazing value.
Then
Which
I
is
trade.
understandable because we didn't even know if he was going to be a starter at that point.
Right.
It was between him and Drew Lock.
I had, coming out of the draft, it was Jalen, Najee, Derek Henry, Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen, Jerry Jeudy, Goddard. I think it was Melvin Gordon, Renfro, and then Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It was like on paper a good team, but then you realize that what was this?
Your time was sick.
It was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady was 44.
Mhm.
44.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in his last season.
Yeah. He was done after that.
Yeah.
So I was drafting like it was a redraft league and not a dynasty.
You weren't in that dynasty mindset as of yet.
I
But-
didn't even know what it. I just figured you just keep your players. Like if
I
it
mean,
was like
well, you do.
if it was like a pick 2 redraft league, you can hold 2. That was in my head what I thought it was, but
Yeah.
you hold on to all of your team.
Yeah. You
And
hold
then
on to everyone.
I learned that pretty fast, and then
Yeah. Reality set in.
yes, adjustments had to come with it.
You came up short in the first year, and then you kind of sold a couple pieces, and then you got worse. But at that point, you had also traded your 2024 first to Brandon. That's kind of how we got to this point where
I don't even know how. I don't even know what I got for it. I'm gonna be honest. I have no clue. I was just dishing out picks like it was like I was a freaking at
Like it-
Waffle
like it meant-
House or something.
yeah,
getting
like it
somebody
was-
pancakes.
like you had just got your stimulus check, and you're like, I don't know.
Yes, exactly.
I got stupid money. What am I supposed to do? But you kind of look over the years. 2023 obviously wasn't your year either last year. You tried to tank. You and Reed were in a tank
Yeah.
off, even though
Which-
you didn't even have your first round
No,
pick.
didn't have my first
You
round.
were just
pick.
trying to get the 201.
Yep, I got the 202 though. I take that as an accomplishment. I leveraged the 202 and 203.
There it is.
Business decision.
But at this point, I kind of look at your roster, and in case you're wondering, he had some solid guys. Of course, a couple of them retired. Some of them also just don't have a team at this point. What does his roster look like now? Still got Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
Still have Najee Harris, which isn't the best. Your RB2 right now is Antonio Gibson, which, I mean, if you're going for a hero RB strategy, that's fine. But your wide receiver 1 is now Rashee Rice, which is one of your moves that you've made
Yes.
that actually has worked out so far. Jerry Jeudy is still on your team.
Yep.
You're still all in on Josh Downs, and he's your wide receiver 3.
Yep.
But then you get to the back half of the starting lineup.
There's
and
nothing there, dude.
I'm looking. You're starting Zach Ertz.
I am.
You're starting
And
Zach Ertz
Jatavion
in
Sanders.
2024. Jatavian Sanders
Hasn't played a
down yet.
nope on the worst team in the NFL.
Tyler Algier is one of your other flex spots, and then Kirk Cousins, which isn't bad. That might hurt you in your max points for, which will affect your
Yes.
where you're placing and where you're drafting by the end of it
I
all.
am trying to get rid of a lot of those players.
Who are you trying to get rid of? For anyone that's listening.
For anyone that's listening, Najee Harris,
Mm-hmm.
come get him.
Okay.
He's going to be good this next season.
What's your price?
At least a second.
A second?
I'd like to make a package for hopefully a first.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
Okay.
But at least a second, I'd say. Or maybe like a younger player or like anything that is like of second value.
Okay.
Of second round pick value.
Okay.
Najee for sure. Kirk Cousins, any contending team that
Could
needs
use a quarterback.
a quarterback. He's going to be solid for at least 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
At least 2,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 3.
So we see Michael Penix out there.
Yes, until he tears his other Achilles.
But until then,
but
it'll
buy
be a
him,
hell of a
buy
ride.
him though.
It'll be a hell of a ride.
I want at least a second.
What you want at least a second for Kirk as well?
Yes.
For Kirk O'Chains? Ooh, okay.
At least a second. I'll take a first.
I bet you would. I bet you would. You're holding on to Kenny Pickett.
Yes.
I kind of, before we get into some of the trades that you made, I do look at some of the guys that used to be on my team that you traded for that I just
Like who?
I don't Cam Akers.
Oh, Cam Akers. Yeah.
Cam Akers, Justin Ross.
Yep. Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill.
I dropped him.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah, it's
At this
going
point,
nowhere.
Yeah,
It's going to be QB3 on the. I don't know.
You just kind of have.
Panthers.
You just kind of have guys.
I do just have guys, but
you have people that play in the NFL on your roster.
you're exactly right. But the people who are like those low grade, very low grade. I'm talking waiver wire ads.
Justin Shorter.
Justin Shorter, I picked him up off waiver wire after the last year's draft. And he's been spiking pretty recently. I've held on to him. I still have like Zach Kuntz, who's tight end. I think he's like 6'8" for the Jets.
Yeah, I think you would put him as like 6'8", by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
So all of those players that I have on my bench, like Kadarius Toney, I bought him for a fourth.
But you're still trying to get rid of him.
No,
You want to hold on to Kadarius Toney?
Yeah, I'll let him die on my roster.
That is wild.
I'll let him die on my roster. I don't really care about those fourth round.
If you were starting a startup draft or you already have Kadarius, don't hold on to him. Don't do what AHopes is doing.
There's only upside from here.
Yeah.
I'm buying in very low.
I mean, you're already bought in low.
Yeah, if he gets a few snaps or like he becomes an okay like guy,
Yeah, but they
then
just drafted
my value's going crazy.
But they just drafted a wide receiver.
I know this was before that draft.
Yeah. But like, why not just get rid of him now?
Nobody would buy him. I would have to just drop him to waiver.
Yeah. Who do you think's gonna pick him up?
Somebody.
You think so?
Probably. I think somebody would pick him up. I think he's like 60% rostered at the moment.
I mean,
So it's not.
Sure. I mean,
He's a very controversial figure. I'm a KT believer. Not really. I'm only believing in him because he's on my team. But
understandable.
like all of those guys, they have like at least a little bit of upside.
Okay.
Like Cam Akers, if he gets on a team and he's like RB2, I think that's his ceiling. And I'll be able to ship him off to somewhere, hopefully.
And kind of, you talked about draft. Let's look at the one that had just happened not too long ago. You were able to get a couple of guys. You put them on your taxi squad. Rasheen Ali, Jordan Travis.
Yep.
Where were you when it came to just having your draft strategy to try and replenish and get at least some assets to work with, since you were kind of like Reed, where you were bare bones.
Yes. And my strategy was to use up the 202 and the 203 of this past year's draft, or get my first back for next year's draft.
Which wasn't happening.
I got it back.
Oh, I mean, I was thinking of this year's, but yeah.
Oh yeah, this year's no.
Yeah, you weren't going to get that.
I got
from
my
Brandon,
2025 first back,
which was good.
I think
It's
that
something you can work with.
Yes, I got my 2025 first back and a 2025 second for 2 seconds. So I think that's a pretty decent deal. I mean, I could have had Bo Nix and a wide receiver, but
like A.D. Mitchell, kind of someone like that.
someone like
Maybe
that.
you get a Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, I could have.
Maybe you
It
could
was
have
a
Ricky.
203.
You could have Slick Rick.
Yep.
You know,
Bye-bye BA.
Yep.
Hello, Slick Rick.
Exactly.
But instead of just like dealing in all of like, I could have had this, I should have had that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to punt to the next draft and tank. And
Continue to tank. So pretty much it's a tank off between you and Dalton right now.
Yes. And I have the edge by like a point or two.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. I've checked. I have the edge.
I've done the research.
I have. I got him by a point or two, and I'm trying to get rid of Najee. It's a good buy. He's going into his contract year. Whoever's listening, going into his contract year, please buy him. Get him off my roster. Hunter, I'm looking at you. You have Jahmyr Gibbs and nobody else. Please buy Najee Harris.
Was there anyone in the draft that you had fallen in love with where you're like, I have to leave this draft with this guy, or did you just mainly play it by ear?
For this draft?
Yeah, for this most recent draft.
I really like Bo Nix. I really liked Bo Nix. I could have had him at the 202, but I was getting some premonitions that he was going to go before the 202. So I was trying to trade up with my 202 and 203, and then that wasn't working. I was like, all right, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I could have had him. Could have had Bo Nix. I really liked him. Great value. First round draft capital. Go into Denver where he has to compete with Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson. I think he'll be starting for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, other than like the top 6 guys that everybody was following.
Like outside of the obvious.
That
ones.
guy. It was Bo Nix.
Was there anyone you were trying? Was there a player that you just were like, this guy is undraftable? That you were just trying to avoid like the plague?
That
you just
who's
look
the
at
dude that went to Baltimore? Devontae Walker.
Okay, yeah, the wide receiver.
I didn't like him.
You didn't like how he had tested out.
Yeah,
Weren't a big fan of his game.
I just wasn't a big fan. I didn't like the landing spot.
It's understandable.
I didn't really know him before, but that landing spot, and I mean, he went in like the 3rd round, and but there was like talks of him going pretty high, depending on where he went. But Baltimore is very deep. He's probably under Rashad Bateman.
Oh yeah, 100%. And Rashad hasn't like really done much in the NFL, so you kind of worry about like where he is right now. But then Walker, it's kind of interesting because he could be a replacement for Bateman. But then again, you'd actually have to see him like really step up and make the most of the snaps that he does get. You're not quite sure what to make of it, especially since they've done a little bit of change here and there. They're going a little bit more passing with Baltimore's offensive system now, but it's still mainly about the run game. So wide receivers and pass catchers outside of Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers, even, it's like you're limited on what you can do.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't blame you there. Where would you put would you grade yourself when it came to this draft? Like
this draft?
Do you think like you got a B and you're like, okay, I improved a little bit?
I'm not going to know how to grade myself until next draft because I traded all of my picks, my 2 seconds, my best picks for, next year's draft capital. But I think that was a pretty good move because I got my pick back. It's going to be the 101. I'm tanking better than Dalton.
You're taking Shadur Sanders?
Maybe.
Perhaps.
I don't know. Hopefully there's a Joey Burrow reincarnate that just blows up on the scene. Hopefully. But I think I've done pretty well. I think Jordan Travis has some high upside. At least some decent upside.
Give him a couple of years, give him some time, see what happens after Aaron Rodgers is done.
Exactly.
See if he can battle for that number 1 job.
And like if he was if he didn't get hurt and FSU got into the playoffs, and then let's say in an alternate world they went in the
say
won
they get
everything.
Yeah, either won or became runner up. Like he was skyrocketed.
He'd been like a Michael Penix.
Yeah, I would say he definitely would have been up there as well.
Yeah.
I think he would have been. I think you, because of that, say Jordan Travis had a really good playoff. If everything went the way you were kind of hoping it would, and Jordan didn't break his leg,
Right.
I feel like you very easily could have seen him go maybe at the end of the second,
Yeah.
depending on how everything fell. Maybe someone kind of trades back in, like how we had seen with Baltimore trading back into the first for Lamar back in 2018. Or if not, maybe it's not necessarily a Will Levis type of situation, but they come in and they just take Jordan Travis early in day 2.
Yeah. He would have definitely been a workshop QB, stayed on a roster for exactly how he is right now in New York, but it would have been at a higher price point.
Right.
And then he would have been being drafted in the what? Mid-second, if that was the thing.
Like, and you would have felt a lot better, especially since you look at his stock skyrocketing compared to someone like Spencer Rattler, where we used to think he would have been a first-round pick and even like the number 1 overall pick in whatever draft he went in. And then reality came in and he got drafted in the 5th by the Saints. So
it
would have been complete opposite.
Right.
I guess kind of moving off of the draft that was then, over your time over the last couple of years, were there any trades that you've made with your roster that you're super proud of? It's kind of slim pickings, but
I would say that I'm sorry, Landon. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The Kirk Cousins for a third.
Oh yeah.
I got Kirk Cousins for a third.
That's fair.
That was pretty good. I can at least get a second for him.
Yeah, I mean Landon's.
He was down in the dumps about him popping his Achilles, and
you're like, don't worry, buddy. I got you.
Like I was.
I'll do you a solid.
Yes, I'll get him off your team for you. Don't worry about it. And then I sent the third, and he accepted it, and I was like, "Whoa, no
this
way!"
Actually worked.
Yeah,
I got that. That's crazy.
Exactly, but I think that's probably been. I think it's that trade, getting my 2025 first back because it's so valuable. It's probably the 101 or 102 next year. Which is crazy. I got it back for 202 and 203.
And like we can get into this in a different episode, but like, was it more of you just really wanted to get a first in a upcoming draft in general, or are you just that big of a fan of the top end talent for 2025?
No. So if I wouldn't have gotten that first back, I wouldn't have had a first for 3 years, 2023, 2024, and 2025. And my team sucks, and I'm rebuilding. So it's just a recipe for.
And it's like you have not a lot of assets.
Exactly. So I have to like play off my second round picks, and hopefully they hit.
Yeah.
But I just had to go back and get my first back.
And that's just tough to do.
Yes, I just had to, no matter what the cost was.
Well, with what good trades you make, there's also been plenty of bad ones that have not worked out. Do you want to reflect on some of those and kind of give that thought process and what went through your head when you were doing those?
Yeah. First one is the Jalen Hurts trade. It worked out in the end for me, but I paid a very high price for him. Very high price. There was a Cooper Kupp. I traded Cooper Kupp in the first year. He was still good. I think this was 2022. I traded Cooper Kupp for Darnell Mooney in a third. Not good at all. I could have easily gotten a first for him. Or maybe a second. He had just gotten hurt.
You had got Mooney a second and a third.
Mooney second and a third still.
Yeah.
It was.
Mooney's been an utter disappointment, and we have yet to see what happens in 2025 with your third, but that was also that second pick that you had gotten for 2024 with that one.
Another horrible trade was, I think it was in the 2023 draft. I was trading, it was like the back end of the second round rookie draft. And I had like sent away, I think that's whenever I traded my first. like 2024 first or something like that. But I did a pick swap with Josh we traded seconds, and then I sent a fourth, he sent a third. So I just upgraded from a fourth to a third for a pick in that draft. I think it was 2023. That draft, with that pick, he drafted Sam Laporta.
Oh yeah, the one at the back end of the second round.
Yes. I could have, and I had all of those picks, so I was looking at all the prospects, but I had to be like Mr. Monopoly and do some business.
And you bring that draft up, and I want to get to that. You started to get into a bidding war with me about Hendon Hooker.
Oh yeah,
with Hunter.
Dude. I wanted Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't want him that bad.
I saw him in some baked beans commercial.
Yeah.
It was over.
And you were sold.
Yeah.
He sold you magic beans.
Yeah. Bush's.
Yeah, Bush's magic beans.
Yeah.
Bush's magic baked beans. Because that one fast, I was like, there's no way. Because I was on the phone with Hunter, and he was like, oh, AHopes just sent me this, and I was like, well, what did he send?
That was another bad. That was a bad trade.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have went and got Hendon Hooker. I thought Jared Goff was washed up. Sorry, Micah.
You just offended Micah right there.
This was before the Lions were good, and this was his replacement.
Yeah, coming off a torn ACL.
Yes. Well,
you have something about torn ACL quarterbacks. You have a fascination with those.
Kirk Cousins, Jordan Travis, Hendon Hooker.
Yeah. Whenever they just
have
an injury to their lower leg.
I'm telling you, it's just time to buy low.
I'm just buying low in the stocks, dude. Just give me a couple years, I'll figure it out. But no, when that one happened, I'm on the phone with Hunter, and he says, AHopes just sent me another trade. Because I already felt like I was overpaying. Because I was like, I'm down to see what's up with Hendon Hooker. And
I overpaid.
And then you send an astronomically bad trade. And I was like, yeah, no, he's got that. I'm not paying for that. You're tripping.
It's not good. Micah, buy Hendon Hooker, please.
Yeah, buy him before it's too late.
The backup quarterback for your Jared Goff.
Yeah.
For the next
you need to have your handcuff.
Yes. You need him. I bought Kenny Pickett before he was an Eagle, but you need to buy your handcuff, man.
You need your handcuffs before it's too late. That was another talking point I did want to get to you with. You kind of changed your name, and I know that's just always easy to change, but it was funny because you initially had one name for a while, and your profile picture was like, what was that? It was like a taped gun.
It was like,
it looked like a taped ray gun.
So it was like pretty much it was like 6 guns just duct taped together.
Yeah.
To be like it was like a pack a punched IRL gun.
You were like, look what I got.
Yeah, dude.
I'm killing all the zombies with this
would be cool. Put this as my profile picture, but
yeah, I was so because I would click on like, what?
Nobody knew what it was.
I was so confused because it was also on your bed. I'm like, well, that doesn't really help me.
That wasn't my picture.
That wasn't even yours?
No, I found that on Twitter.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. I found it on Twitter. I thought it would be funny, but then you know how you only have a circle. Mm-hmm. It only showed like half of the
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
But now at this point, you've changed your name to Under Construction.
Yep.
Which is very understandable.
Yes.
With where your team's at.
Caution under construction.
Yeah, caution under construction. At this point, how long do you think it's going to take before you can get yourself to even sniffing the playoffs?
Sniffing the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm not going to say contend.
Ooh, yeah.
But I would say just like giving yourself a chance of making the playoffs.
Oh, making the playoffs? So just getting to that 6th spot?
Yeah, like finding a way to get into that 6th seed. Because we see what happens when you get to the 5 or 6 seed.
Yeah.
You win a championship.
Anything happens.
Yeah.
Anything happens.
For some reason.
You changed my mind on that. I always thought that it was like either you have the best team or the worst team. Mm-hmm. But you just have to get to the playoffs and then anything can happen. But what was the question?
So,
sniffing the playoffs.
Yeah, like how much longer do you think it's going to take for you to actually get into the playoffs?
I have 5 seconds next year.
Okay. Are you gonna? Is your plan to just bundle those together to either get a solid player, or
Probably.
as we get closer to the draft, you
So
get rid of 2 or 3 of them
this
and get a
time-
first?
this time next year,
Okay.
I'd say
Uh-huh.
it's going to be insane value
Okay.
to have 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can package and get, maybe a 2026 first for a couple of them.
A
So I would
2026
say-
first? Not even a 2025?
I don't know. That's about a year from now, and I don't know anything about the rookies coming up. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, yeah, but you got plenty of time.
Yeah.
We're in June. And we haven't even started the football season yet.
I'd say it's gonna take me about after the 2026 draft, and to even sniff the playoff
So you think
So
in the
2 more years.
2026 season,
I'll-
you won't make the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay. Mark that on your calendars. AHopes will do that. Yeah, because I do look at, you have 5 seconds. You have your first back in 2025.
Mhm.
You got a couple of thirds, and then in 2026, you pretty
Set.
much, it's pretty
regular.
standard.
Yep.
It's pretty standard, and then you haven't done anything with your 2027 picks yet.
Yeah.
So
So hopefully I can send. I don't know. Maybe somebody's like very bullish on somebody in the second round next year.
Mhm.
I have.
you capitalize it.
Yeah.
Capitalize on it.
Hopefully I get like a 2026 first. I might give him 3 seconds for that or something.
Mhm.
But just actually starting to play Dynasty now and not ship away all of my valuable assets.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you learned your lesson?
Yes.
And because
I've learned my lesson, because I think it was when Brandon was asking for people to pay up,
Mhm.
and then I had already traded like 3 years down the line, and I had to drop like $240, and then I just go and like get like second to worst.
yeah.
I'm just throwing away money for no reason. So it was like, okay, I gotta
I need to
buckle
actually
up
figure
now.
out what I'm doing.
Yeah, let me sit down and lock in.
Because you started to like be more competent.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You started to figure it out a little bit, which is good.
Yeah.
Um,
Shout out BDGE,
Yeah.
Dynasty Fantasy Football.
you started to watch
Keep
them a
trade
little
cut.
bit. At this point, how have you felt Brandon's managed league?
Good. I think it's great. Does a great job.
Is there anything that you would want to add or change?
Oh
to the
yeah, 100%. I want to add kickoff points.
league?
Yeah.
For what?
Kickoff
You don't
return
have
points.
you don't have Justin Fields.
I don't, but I had Xavier Gibson at the time.
Well, now Josh does.
I know.
He
I
just picked
dropped
him up the other day.
I dropped him right after the voting went to no.
You're
And I
like,
was like, all right.
fuck this, I'm out of here. I'm done.
I was trying to get some value. That was another angle that I was trying to do. It's like, okay, my team might be bad, but hopefully I could put like somebody as a flex spot. I
Mhm.
don't know, dude. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm trying to make stuff work with the people I've got.
No, it's understandable. Who in the league do you enjoy having trade conversations with the most?
Me and Micah have traded a lot.
Even
I bought Derrick Henry off of him, and then I traded Derrick Henry back.
to him.
Yes, I've sold him Cooper Kupp. I've sold him Keenan Allen. I've a couple picks,
Mhm.
I believe, as well. I think I've had the most.
You've had the most trade. Or you're
most
saying you had the
trades
most
with
trades
him.
with him?
Yeah. What is Derrick Henry's history?
So he got him from you for a second and a third. And initially he had traded him away. It was Henry, Melvin Gordon, and Jimmy Garoppolo. And for Cordero Patterson, Leonard Fournette, 2023 second, 2023 third, and a 2024 first.
That's
So
where it went.
that's how the
That's where it went.
That's where you lost the 2024 first.
That's
It
news
was in
to
that
me,
Derrick,
man.
it was in that Derrick Henry trade, and then he got him back for a second and a third.
Yeah, he stole all my picks. And then
you allowed it.
I know, I did. And then he capitalized it. Now he has like a.
You got no chips out of it though.
Nope. No chips. Sorry.
Sucks to suck. Who is someone that you just can't stand trading? Trying to like you're just like this. Like there's someone on his team that you want, but you're like, there's really nothing
I'm gonna
that's
be
gonna
honest,
be able to get done.
I'm gonna be honest. I can't really trade with anybody. Well, I can, but they would have to buy from me.
Yeah.
I can't go and buy from people.
Yeah.
So, I told you this earlier. I'm just that dude on Facebook Marketplace
That's just lowballing
that
people.
just lowballs everybody. Like I did one to Landon today. I sent him Jaden Reed for a third.
He probably would have taken it before the season.
My bad. No, it was a late second. It was a late second.
Oh, man, it's so much better.
Yeah. It was Jaden Reed for
one of your 5 seconds.
I'm just sending out feelers.
Yeah.
Just hopefully somebody.
Some sticks.
You
hopefully.
know, it's worked one time for the Kirk Cousins trade, so hopefully it works in the future. But
going back to old reliable.
Yeah, I can't really buy from anybody, so it's just a matter of trying to sell people. So I wouldn't say that there's anybody that I don't like trading with or communicating with about trades. But I do get a lot of declines.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Well, that's also another thing is pretty much anyone only ever communicates with you to just try and get Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. I've tried to send Jalen Hurts a few times, but it would have been like
you tried in the draft. I think you tried to get like the 102. I think for Hurts.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes. No, it was like 102, and there was another quarterback on Brandon's team. I think. I don't know. It was something ridiculous. I don't even remember what it was, but the types of trades that I would send with Jalen Hurts packaged, it would have been insane. Like on Keep Trade Cut, they were like 17,000 to 20,000 value on each side, and it would have been like a complete rebranding of both of our teams. And not a lot of people want to do that. They're pretty content with what they've got going on.
And I've tried plenty of times to get Hurts from you.
Yeah,
and it's realistic trades.
No,
yes they are.
You tried to trade me Derek Carr and like some other random.
Yeah, but
players.
I threw in a bunch of other firsts, and when you look at the Keep Trade Cut value,
it was like
there.
It was like 2 firsts. Okay, you have to understand. I've invested.
No, I get it,
and
I get it.
Yeah,
just like how you lowball, you got to respect my grind.
Yeah, I respect it.
You got to respect the grind, dude.
On my team, in the moment, like the moment I press accept, I'm going to get Derek Carr back.
Yeah, but then you also are getting firsts to help rebuild your team.
Do you remember what first it was?
No, because it was like 6 months ago. I think it would have
this first.
I would have included this year's first that ended up being Keon Coleman.
Okay, so that was what, the 109?
It was the 110.
110.
So
okay,
I would have thrown you Derek Carr. It would have been the 110. I would have thrown you another first. I think it would have been in 2025.
Do you know whose first it was? Like
no,
mid to late?
I don't remember who it is.
Yeah.
But it probably would have been. It probably would have been a mid, which.
Yeah.
But then I was throwing in other stuff to help make. Not like kind of dress it up, but I mean, it would have helped a lot.
Even then,
value.
I think I would have stuck with Jalen Hurts, and I made the right decision. Like, I think I could have gotten Bo Nix, so I would have gotten Derek Carr, Bo Nix, and maybe another first next year for Jalen Hurts. And I just think it was just better value just to hold on to him. Which I probably should have sold him whenever he was like coming off that Super Bowl, if I were to sell him.
I was gonna say at that point, no, that's kind of tough too, and it's also it's tough to really want to sell him because you've seen him progress so much over the last couple of years. Because like once you find a franchise quarterback, you just want to hold on to him.
Yep.
Like for me, I was just trying to I'm trying to take advantage of him kind of being at a not a low point.
He was. No, he was. That was as lowest his value has been.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, he very easily could go lower.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
if they don't figure out that offensive coordinator situation,
Yes.
Jalen
Shane
Hurts
Steichen come back.
he can very easily fall
Yes.
even farther. So that's what
100%.
I was saying is when I was trying to get him from you, I wasn't saying he was at his absolute peak,
Mhm.
but I'm buying him very high when he very easily could
Yes.
fall off. And that's a type of risk, and that's why I didn't want to like throw, say like 2,000 or 3,000 more value than what Jalen Hurts would be when you look at the keep trade cut. But I also wasn't gonna lowball you and only give you like 2 first for him. Like I was also gonna throw you a starting quarterback that way you had someone to start and just have as a placeholder. Plus you're getting 2 firsts to help rebuild your team. That was my whole thought process.
Yeah, I got you. I just think the tush push is just invaluable.
Yeah, but now what are you gonna do without Jason Kelsey? How much? That's a real question. Is how much is that actually going to affect him?
I don't think any. If it does,
and also how many Saquon touchdowns are going to take away from those tush pushes?
I think it's going to be Saquon in the back, just pushing Jalen Hurts even more. So you're going to have
he's making up for what you lose in Jason Kelsey.
Pretty much.
Okay.
So you got 2 dudes that squat 600 in the back, and they're just going to be forcing Jalen Hurts into the end zone. But on a real note, Jalen Hurts was like QB2 or QB3 last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was still very much up there.
Jason Kelsey.
It was just the rushing upside that helped him because if you take it away, he looks
absolutely. And the majority of his points were touchdowns. But like even if he does regress, he's still top 5.
Yeah, he was still a top 5 overall player last year.
What was he?
He was number 2
quarterback.
Yeah.
So like he's still going to be top 5 quarterback without Jason Kelsey at the very least. And then maybe in a few years he's going to be top 7, top 10. He's still going to be a great asset to have on your team for all 4 years.
But I just look at his rushing touchdowns over the last couple of years.
Oh yeah.
In 2021, when he first started to really pop off, he had 10, and you're like, okay, that doesn't seem like you could repeat that. But then he got to 13 in 2022, and then he got to 15 last year.
Yeah.
It's like
it'll probably drop back down.
At a certain point, he's gonna drop back down, and it's gonna fall, and he's gonna become still a good QB1. He's still gonna be a QB1 for someone, but instead of him being QB2. He's going to now become a QB6, QB7. Like you're looking at the back half of the QB1s.
Yeah.
So then his value is going to drop a little bit more.
I think like the people who would be able to pass him up in these next few years is going to be like Richardson for sure.
He's got to stay healthy.
He's got to stay healthy. I'm a big believer in Richardson. Raheem, please trade me Anthony Richardson for a second.
Well, he traded me a haul just to get to that pick, just to take AR.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good luck. It's kind of the same situation with you with Hurts.
I'll give you 2 seconds. But
there it is.
in all seriousness, I think it's going to be Rich is going to be that dude that's next.
Okay.
But for the time being, it's still Jalen Hurts.
Still Jalen Hurts season?
Still Jalen Hurts season.
Okay.
Number 2 QB.
Absolutely. When you look at how the league is right now, just kind of thinking off the top of your head, who will be the 6 guys that get into the playoffs?
Okay. You got a team.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
I do have a team.
You have a team.
I have a team.
You have, and then sharper than you, Seth?
Yes, Seth. I would say.
Let me pull up my phone real fast.
I would say Seth is probably the second best in the league right now. So that would be understandable.
So I'd say you, Seth, Micah.
You have Micah in the playoffs.
He's gonna make the playoffs.
He's gonna find a way.
So number 1,
he's gonna finagle through.
Yeah. So number 1, I have you.
Okay.
Number 2, I have Seth. Number 3, I have Hunter.
You have Hunter again, the 3 seed.
Yes.
Okay. He even after he traded Bijan?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's going to buy Najee Harris.
Oh, okay. and
Well,
that's going to take him to the next level.
Like he's projected 134, and there's a player missing on his roster, so it's going to be at least like a 145, 150, right?
Okay.
So he's going to be up there. So Hunter, and then Micah, and then Cole and Raheem.
Those are the 6.
Those are going to be the 6.
All right. That's your bold prediction.
Yeah, and then I think Brandon can sneak in there, depending on how the rookies pan out.
You think he ends up being 7th?
Yeah,
because he's got too many rookies. That's not a bad thing because we've seen wide receivers really pop off.
He just has
in their first and second years.
He also has like Jalen Warren that he's flexing. Najee Harris is way better. You should buy Najee. But like, there's like 1 or 2 spots to be filled out. I mean, he has Jackson Smith and Jigba. You could throw him there instead. Yeah, Brandon's going to come in 7th, I'd say.
Okay.
He's going to be right there. That's the sleeper pick.
That's the sleeper pick. That's someone that we really need to watch out for.
Yeah, at that 6th spot.
All right. So where do you have Landon?
Do I have Landon?
Do you think he falls? Do you think he gets worse than, say, Josh, and he gets like 10th?
No, he's going to be like 8. He's pretty up there.
Okay.
My thing is his team is very
top heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's the same thing with Seth.
His quarterbacks aren't consistent, I think, on Landon's team. Like Russell Wilson and Bryce Young.
Danger Russ.
I could see Russ having a couple bad games where he scores like a 6.
And then they bring in Justin Fields.
Yes, right.
And then he saves the day. And then Reed doesn't look like an idiot.
Same thing with Bryce Young. I could see him having a couple bad games, but Landon has the best running back room.
Better than mine?
Yes. Tyron Williams, Devon Achane, Isaiah Pacheco, and he had another one.
Do I need to go back to my roster and tell you who I have?
Hold up, let me look. Maybe I'm not too acquainted.
I don't think you remember who's on my team.
Oh, McCaffrey. I forgot you bought McCaffrey.
I have McCaffrey.
Barkley,
I have Saquon.
James Cook.
And that's
Trey Benson. You bought Trey Benson, or you drafted him.
I drafted Trey Benson.
It's tough.
I think you got to give it to me because you also have to remember Devon Achane's not going to be able to average 30 yards a carry again.
Nah, he's going to
Or at least he shouldn't. I should say he shouldn't.
It's a toss-up between you guys for sure. I think I would rather his room though.
Mine's more built to win right now.
To win right now, absolutely. I think you should buy Kirk Cousins.
You think so?
Yeah. Get Derek Carr off your team. I know you have Danny Cornhole, but he's not going to be good.
I'll send you Danny Cornhole for Kirk Cousins.
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I need a pick.
Well, I'll give you.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you Kirk Cousins for Michael Penix.
No.
I'm giving you a starter. I'm getting his backup.
Damn, that's crazy.
That's like me sending you Jalen Hurts and you giving me Kenny Pickett. Same exact thing.
I'll give you a 2025 fourth.
No, all right. But yeah, I think those 6, they're going to be the ones to make it. Cole's got a sleeper team as well.
It is pretty scary. That's what I told Brandon in the first.
James Conner might be his downfall.
Oh yeah,
Buy Najee Harris. Same thing with Nick Chubb. Those two are. Yeah, he has Brian Robinson though, and Tajay.
Is there anyone in the league that you just want to like start beef with, or like
start beef with?
Like just kind of call out, like whether their team sucks or just
they
suck in general.
I'll start with beef with Landon.
Landon, okay.
Thank you for Kirk Cousins.
You bum.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll send him back to you for Bryce Young. And I'll include a second.
Ooh.
Boom.
Wow.
I think that's a good deal.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. It's good on Keep Trade Cut, so it's good in my mind.
You just checked right now.
I just
Or you
checked.
had it ahead.
I
You
got
had
it.
that.
I
you
got
had
a
that planned ahead
Neuralink.
of time.
I got a Neuralink right now. I just did it.
Yeah, it's like
But
5,000 a piece.
yeah, but Landon, we have beef. I don't know why, but we do.
I don't know the reason. Is there anything else that you want to get to before we get out of here?
Oh no, I don't think so. I appreciate you letting me come on, and it's been fun.
Yeah,
It's fun
appreciate you coming on, man.
for sure.
Hopefully, by the next time you come in, hopefully your team is not last.
Better. Yeah, right.
Maybe you'll be able to swindle someone by then.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Coming for somebody. Maybe not now because I've been saying it on.
Yeah, you have to give it some time. You have to lay low.
Yeah.
You have to lay low. Maybe throw something out there like on a random Wednesday, and you're like, that actually kind of makes some sense.
Patrick Mahomes for a second. Yeah. I think that sounds good.
You might be highballing them there.
Yeah. I'll give him 5 seconds.
I'm curious how fast Raheem would say no to that.
Instantly.
Instantly? He wouldn't even think about it?
No.
No? I mean, I wouldn't think about it either.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun.
Oh, yeah. Alex, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Next time, probably get Dalton, so we'll get the other one that's trying to tank even harder, considering he got rid of pretty much everyone on his team. I don't know. I really don't see how he's going to be able to, though, because he has a better core than you do.
Yes.
That's the issue, because he still kept Justin Jefferson.
He
just still kept Hawkinson.
He doesn't have running backs. That's his thing.
But that helped. That kind of helped him a little bit.
Yes.
But at the same time, the fact that he's got still stud wide receivers.
Yes.
Justin
Jefferson.
That's to me is what's going to hold him back and still have him be that 102.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to beat your team.
Oh yeah, it's hard to
It's hard to beat the suck.
Yeah, exactly. it's hard to out tank the tank.
Yeah, the tanker.
Like the Titanic going down.
Oh,
Maybe that's a better name for my team instead of under construction. The Titanic. Just going down.
But you're still working on it, so that's why it's under construction.
That's true. This is like the Titanic before it's
if you would have done the Titanic last year.
Oh yeah, that would have been way better.
That would have been way better. But now at this point, since you're actually trying to rebuild, you kind of just have to keep it under construction.
Yeah. It's under construction.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Talk to you next time on the next edition of HCDC.